father, bro.
some sort of heavy AD pairing to go
I don't
alongside this
care. I'm
Rumble
calling
that's been
father.
taken on the top side. And instead, the
Just a
final
minute.
ban will be against Emo here. They're going to take away the Yone, deny that as a possibility. Yone Rumble, classic combo, you know, go in with that ultimate from Yone and just layer the equalizer over the top.
Now thinking about things like the
father,
Wukong possibility for Levi.
I was actually reading news on my phone,
into the Poppy in particular. The Corki, relatively safe mid lane matchup.
I was so scared to wake you up,
but when you think of Emo as a player, his introduction into the roster later on. He's very much a facilitator. He's a player that doesn't take up a lot of the resources. He's much more about enabling both Artemis and Kiaya, and he's a role player for the team. And since his introduction, we've seen a lot more synergy within the team, I would say, and that's kind of been the priority for GAM, finding their footing. As the bot lane quickly gets locked in for BLG, the Jhin and Alistar combination.
How is it out already? Does it have de novo?
Their engage is mainly going to come from on the Alistar. They have a lot of disengage tools simply due to the fact that they have both Alistar and the Poppy, along with the zone control that Taliyah can provide. But I will say that this composition from BLG kind of has skirmishing elements.
We're going to have a Maokai jungle.
It does kind of do a lot of different things. So GAM is very much in the direction of team fighting.
Yeah, very much so. And I mean, a lot of poke here, obviously. Varus plus Corki, really common combo with those double 80 carries, both able to poke down your opponents, drop the equalizer. You have the Maokai ultimate as well as the Nautilus to try to set them up for this team fight. So I do think it's going to be a lot about GAM getting to those objectives first, trying to force BLG to walk into them, poking them out, and making their job really, really difficult to find those engages.
It's a Mao game, bro.
You know, here for Knight on this
Taliyah, if he can get pushed,
he's going to be happy to try to attack those side lanes. Obviously, the skirmish power really high, like you were talking about.
You remember Beach1
you can tackle just straight into the unraveled earth. You don't even need a wall to actually stun them up.
It's very true. We are getting ready to jump into our first game. The crowd is excited. We're excited.
The Canadian time is just weird. You know, next game is still going to be the same. Like, they're going to have the same times as well.
Which means that when it comes to the fights, that's what we're going to be keeping our eyes on. Because that's the scariest thing about BLG. The skill ceiling of these individuals is so high that you know that in every single fight, their ability to outplay is one of the things you always have to be scared of.
Non-subscribers, we will see you in 30 seconds, but absolutely agree, Vedius. It is going to be a really interesting game, number one. Time to set the tone for this best of 5. See if GAM can surprise some people, take a game, get competitive here with BLG, and really flip the expectations. We've already had our first series go all 5 games. It's time to find out if we can make 10 games the dream happen here on day 1.
I mean, you have to go back a few years, but Knight, he did have an unfortunate experience against GAM, the top esports versus GAM matchup during the group stages of Worlds.
Oh my god.
Of course, a lot has happened since then. BLG rising to prominence on the international stage, making a World Finals last year against T1. So close. A single game being the difference, and that final game being so close. But, I mean, Faker is inevitable. But BLG, since then, have kind of fallen from grace a little bit. They've gone through a bunch of iterations in that jungle role. Now they find themselves here at MSI with a lot of question marks surrounding them in terms of the level. Let's see what they've brought to us here in this game 1. It looks like a standard line of scrimmage so far. Bit of early investment in vision from both sides.
Mid lane first game, bro.
What Levi is up to in the early game.
Bro, Bin is so good as well.
I expect the top side to be the priority in terms of their early ganks. As we were talking about, GAM do like to try and enable Kiaya on the top side of the map. But against Bin, I imagine that they really want to try and give Kiaya as many resources to set him up for success.
Absolutely. To expectation is going to be Poke Varus. You can see he's playing with the Comet. Kiaya also electing to go for the Comet there as well. And it'll be interesting to see how Emo actually builds. We were talking a lot about builds earlier with Corki, but GAM, of course, here, you know, no stranger to the international stage. They are the 2nd seed for the LCP. This is their 4th MSI appearance. Levi, definitely one of the big standout players. If you've been watching international for a long time, you know this guy, you love this guy. Kiaya as well, really has been a mainstay and has been such a part of their success all over these years. And I mean, 9 international events, that tells the story. Pretty incredible track record for GAM across a lot of different years.
And we know that GAM shoulders a lot of responsibility as being a representative for Vietnam, and they shoulder that pressure themselves, and they want to perform for their region. As
faster level 2 here. On is going to take a lot of damage before he actually gets level 2, and he just has to headbutt Artemis away there. Another hook is going to come in. It does land on Elk. Elk trying to turn this round, has the 4th shot, gets Artemis quite low.
Gene
but still the
Inspiration
health bars
3.
very heavily
I
favoring
didn't see that
Gam
one.
as BLG tried to
Oh
fight for
yeah,
level 2,
he
but
went
just kind of miscounted the
footwork
minions and couldn't get there in
and
time.
Some beautiful trading
the
from
cosmic
the bot lane
thingy
of
with
Gam.
the
Great hook
biscuit
by
thingy
Elio.
actually.
On is trying to survive, will be able to do it as he procs the aftershock right before that piercing arrow came through, but down incredibly low, and topside looking spicy also, as Bin is going to be able to crash this, but not without taking quite a bit of damage.
You look at the jungle pathing and you can see that Levi is making his way up towards the top
He's
side
going
of
for
the
Ben.
map, but an early base will
Ben
come
immediately
through from Bin,
records.
so he's going to respect the possibility of a gank, as Beishuan is setting his sights to hover around
He
the bottom side of the
scares.
map, is on actually looking for a quick back.
On is going to
of course,
stay, though.
it's
He likes
like
to stay because Poppy is coming, so they're going to try to make
like
a play very, very
the
quickly
whole team
here.
is a
Elk is
CC
trying to
team,
keep his
bro.
wave
There's a
from crashing,
Maokai,
but
there's
have no wards, and Beishuan is going to be behind them.
there's
They're
a
about to get the bad news
Varus
here. Flash combo from
and the
On,
cow,
perfectly
man, no,
engaged. They're going for
the
Elio.
Nautilus.
They flash forward. Artemis trying to finish him off. He grabs first blood.
That's
They're
a
looking
double
for
kill.
another one. Elk's in trouble. It's a double for Artemis.
But it's
and
the double
game
for
time
Beishuan
already.
as well, bro.
But Beishuan looking to get him back.
Yeah.
Flash to follow, gets a double.
Yeah.
Is able to trade evenly.
Wave is in a
But
good
how
state,
about
so.
that? 2 for 2 and a 2v3 for the game.
But the bad thing is the ADC got all the kills, so Elk is
Aggression
not
from
gonna play the
bot
game,
lane
bro.
of Gab. Without hesitation, they flash in
is this
to
echo,
go
bro?
for those kills, and they make it happen. In a 2 versus 3, it's Gam that draws first
The support
blood in
really
the bot
played
lane.
well,
You
bro.
have gotta love that confidence. There was no fear at all. There's no
Yeah, for
hesitating.
Varus,
Should
it's
we
all
flash
worse,
back?
bro.
Should we be running away?
Look how Elio played it, though. Look, Elio.
As you highlighted, On
Look, Elio.
thinking about going back to base. They do take over to
Look,
level
Elio.
3 for the Gam bot lane, but On with
Soon
a
as he
great
saw
engage.
Poppy,
Flash with the 2-man
look.
knocker. Beishuan arrives.
Look,
But the
no
flash
hesitation. He
in
flashed
from
in,
Elio to connect
CC
the
this
hook
guy,
onto On.
W's,
The comment
and then
actually gets
CC's
the
this
kill,
guy.
and then his W comes back
Easy,
up,
bro.
meaning that he survives long enough for Artemis
really
to get
good.
that second kill. Yes, the wave state is in a bit
Yeah,
of an awkward
really
spot,
well, bro.
but it still ends up going underneath the
Yeah.
tower, and you can see that excitement,
really
that
good for Lagan,
confidence
bro.
already starting to build in the Gam bot lane.
Absolutely, and I mean, it's a small thing, but because On, when he flash comboed there, he stayed around for one auto before actually trying to back up. It gave Elio the time to get his passive route there, and now Levi is here. They're going to force the flash as that hook actually connected with the minion, but Elk, of course, did not know that was about to happen
Wow,
and had to
Elk.
respect it. So either way, just calibrating
Oh
down
my
there.
I love
god.
the
I'm
thumbs
not
up
gonna
from
talk
Elio.
about
He
the
knows
flash.
things in their head right now. They're feeling themselves with how the bot lane 2
I'm
versus
not
2 is
gonna
playing
talk how
out.
the
rest of the
Elk
map
just
is relatively
flashed.
quiet, but I think from Gam's perspective, that's how they want it.
I mean, absolutely. And just look at the buy. Look at the bot lane. You have a
Why
call
is
over
the call-
here.
like the
and then
caster's
tier
voice is
double
echoing, bro?
longsword is the buy when you go back, because both of the kills went there to Artemis, and only the fact that Beishuan was able to survive saves that from being a... He's on a triple longsword buy, so likely just going towards
the bot lane is
Sky,
done,
pretty
bro.
standard stuff. Is going to be building aggressively himself, but it is going to be very tough now for Elk and On down in that bot lane, where you're not going to be
When
able to
he
win
queues.
all-ins, and if you can't look for all-ins, you're just going to slowly get poked out by Artemis.
A good little window utilized by Beishuan
Oh,
there
why
as
are
he
they
steals
echoing?
away
I don't
those
understand.
Raptors. Able to get a small lead at the very least over his jungle counterpart, but it's important to remember that Beishuan did himself get those 2 kills. So while it is incredibly positive for the Gam bot lane, they need to now try and leverage this strength that they've been able to develop. So they're swapping them up
Oh,
towards the top
crack.
side of the map. I question some of these decisions sometimes, only because when you're in that winning state, you have to make that choice of, do we want to try and move it around the map to then try and push it even further, or do we instead want to try and punish the bot side even more? And I think that they could have bullied
Varus
Elkanon a
pulling
little
the
bit
wave,
more, but
man.
instead they've chosen to prioritize the top side to get Elio and Levi grouping up and moving into the enemy jungle.
Definitely agree with you, but also a thing to note, because the wave that Elk based on was a pushing wave, it's heavily frozen towards Gam in bot lane, and also in top lane, Artemis moved forward, caught the wave, stacked it, so they have double frozen waves right now in top and bot. They are going to be able to deny, and now they elect to push it out, but they were able to deny all 3 of these melee minions. As you see, the last one is likely to die there, so they denied 3 minions on top side. They denied almost an entire wave from that wave that was pushing towards Kiaya, and he's going to have way more minions to farm, so I do like the thought process there from Gam, as Levi going to show up here and try to make sure that he is covering for any potential Beishuan action, and you can see that Beishuan has already been back to base. Not only is he up over 600 gold, he just spent, so he is massively stronger than Levi right now.
Yeah.
For sure. Keeping my eyes on Knight, as with the level 7, he does have the ulti available. Beishuan runs into Levi.
What are we doing?
Levi's going to go forward, and they're going to try to knock him back.
What are we
Remember,
doing?
no flash available here on Beishuan. He is running Artemis over the wall, looking to try to take him down. Will he be able to do it? On's in the midst of everyone. Levi has to flash out. It's On now that is in trouble. He is off, and Elio trying to survive.
On is
Can't
off, bro.
quite make it happen. Elk is in trouble.
We're not
now.
killing
Beautiful
fucking Nautilus,
cleanse.
bro.
That was picture perfect from Elk to keep himself alive. Knight
Oh
though, gonna be
my
hooked in.
God,
He is able to
Knight.
get one, but he's going to fall for it at the end of the day. Levi limping out of there very close fight, but it is 2-for-1 at GAM at the end of the day.
GAM are bringing the fight to BLG. They're moving into the enemy jungle.
The
They are showing
custom
BLG that this side of the map belongs to them. And again, without any hesitation, they force the fight. Now, Bin in a 1v1.
Yeah, he is silenced, and Kiaya could be in trouble. Both still sitting on their ultimates. We'll see if Bin does look for that public execution. The ulti going to get dropped by Kiaya just to clear out the wave. He wants nothing to do with Bin right now. It's going to go grab the honey fruit, and we'll be able to heal up quite a lot off of that.
Wow. But we take into consideration that the first 3 kills were secured by GAM, that Feat of Warfare achievement grabbed by them. First dragon in the map still up as well. But it seems that these grubs are going to be the priority. Let's look back at the replays. We can see it's Beishuan.
I mean, Beishuan just threw there, bro. Last game he was doing, last time watching BLG, he was doing the same thing, bro. He was doing this dumb, questionable moves, bro.
I think it's more favorable for GAM because both
Emo did the same thing again, bro.
Artemis moves up to force Knight out
but like,
of the fight.
they can't kill this guy. Like, Elio is actually go to the door.
And then Knight, thinking he can get one exit kill, ends up costing him his life. And giving that kill over to Emo just means that things just continue to go the way of GAM.
Yeah, absolutely. In that replay, BLG was able to get 2 of the grubs. You can see GAM does take 1 for their trouble, so at least you're not going to be giving the Void Might spawn away. But Elio and Levi just grouping up here, heading over to look for a dive on Elk. Remember, there is no cleanse available. He doesn't have his flash for another couple seconds, and he is in so much trouble. There is the hook, and there is the kill. It's another one in the pockets of Artemis. 4 kills in 9 minutes for the GAM bot laner.
It's a beautiful dive. No mistakes, well executed. There was little that Elk could do.
We knew there was a dive coming. We heard the fucking scatter. Grab escape being taken. Why are we not like leaving the turret, bro? We just walk away. They call under our second grade turret. Can we do that? Or am I wrong for that?
And Kiaya playing on the weak side for now, making sure that he's just staying safe so that BLG cannot get any cross-map kills. But to see this level of aggression, this level of execution coming through from GAM, I think is a huge surprise.
It is great to see them playing like this. You know, it means we're in for a very exciting series, I think, here. As GAM, when they're on, they just really seem like they're on. There's one of these teams that just, when they catch fire, they really do kind of play with vibes, man. Like, they're one of these teams that really emphasizes that feeling of family and togetherness, and that, you know, one person is less important than the whole. And it's all about this philosophy that they have, that they take into their training, into their practice, into their gameplay, that really has netted them so much success. This trust that they have in each other.
While Varus is going for his second item,
a win here against BLG as they are out to a slight lead.
And what I will say is that when you watch the playoff run, sometimes they do just make bad decisions. Sometimes they get individually outplayed. But this roster really does make magic happen at times. The way that they find these incredible steals, the way that they navigate certain fights. Like, they're a team that fully trusts in each other.
Why is he so tiny?
They do a really good job of just committing to the play they've decided to make it. That makes for some amazing moments and is why they are here at MSI today. Now, of course, the gold lead, 1K. A very good start to the game. Puts them in a good positions, but we still got a lot of the game left to go. As
my god!
Yeah, gonna sidestep the ulti there, and it's not gonna be a big deal. Like you said, it is 1K, but one thing I will say is it's 1K, and it's all on Artemis. This is that playoff run that you were talking about, Vedius.
Yeah, I mean, it looked very scary for them because they ended up losing to CFO in their first run, but then they were able to get that win over Team Secret. The win over Talon, I think, was the biggest surprise, especially the way in which they won it. And then pushing CFO all the way to 5 games was a really crazy run. And again, like, some of the consensus I heard was that they're not even the second best team from the LCP. There were question marks, there were doubts that it was kind of a miracle that they made it here, but Game 1, they are looking impressive. Emo gets knocked up.
Oh, he does get knocked up. He's going to have to flash to safety there, as it looked like the Valkyrie even got interrupted. So as he comes out of that combo, just has to spend the summoner spell. Beishuan down towards the spot side, but Kiaya, of course, did spot him in that drive rush, and Beishuan knows it, goes back and is able to clear that one out.
First items are starting to be completed across the board. The Heartsteel coming through from the Maokai, going for more of a defensive kind of frontlining tanky build.
And I actually really like this because I do think when you are not solo AP, it's not worth it. There's the flash, and it's going to connect, and the Chains of Corruption is there as well. GAM, it's surprise! They jump over the wall. They take him down. Kiaya gets the kill on Bin.
What?
Was not expecting
Did
that.
I just watch?
I mean, our observers were showing his Bin POV, and so we just saw the fog of war, and out of nowhere, GAM attack. The surprise collapse
insane camera, bro. They outplayed us.
It's happening across the board, and that lead that Beishran had been able to build for himself early on because of those 2 early kills, that gap is starting to close. And meanwhile, for Artemis, a 1.4k gold lead for him.
Yeah, back to the
bro,
Maokai point.
Elio is actually carrying the game, bro.
Maokai, I think it is just wrong to go AP.
This Nautilus is 1v9.
There's so much damage on this team. You have Kiaya on the Rumble, you have double AD carry. You just need to create space for them. You need to be able to peel. You need to be able to create that zone of control to buy the Corki and the Varus time to do their work. So I absolutely love that he is going to be going full tank here with that Heartsteel. Makes a lot of sense.
I also love this vision investment from Gam on the bot side of the map. Look at all these wards that have been set up, making it a lot more comfortable for Kiaya to play in the 1 versus 1 matchup. Just getting that deep vision in just provides them with that extra bit of security so that they know that the Rumble can play very, very safe while Levi starts pathing back up towards the top side. But BLG naturally doing the exact same in response, making sure that they have good vision coverage, keeping track of where Levi is on the map so these surprise ganks are less likely to be effective.
Bin looking to try to get in range of Kiaya, but can't quite do it. This is going to be constantly trading back and forth here. Kiaya doing a good job spacing Bin, it seems like, when we're checking in for the most part, not allowing him to really get those good trades. And I mean, when you're playing against Mbessa, so much of these matchups is about forcing Mbessa to use the spells to close the gap, not allowing her to begin trades with those spells. As Kiaya again overheats, and this time Bin is going to be in a lot of trouble. The equalizer is ready. He just hit 11. I think Bin, it's time to get cooked. There's the equalizer, turns around with the public execution, does proc the Eclipse Shield, trying to run for the hills, but it's just not enough. Kiaya will not allow him to escape.
Kiaya gets a solo kill onto Bin.
It's over, man.
What a fantastic
a guy I expected to win, bro.
Bin. The Rumble now sitting at 2-0-0, a 1.2k goal lead for Kiaya, and Gam have everything going for them. No Rumble ultimate available for the Dragon spawning in 5 seconds, but the Corki is in position. Bin does have the TP available to join in the event that a fight does kick off.
Wow, that was a really good
W. I feel like Gam is showing the utmost respect to BLG while still playing with nothing but confidence.
Absolutely, and you have to. You cannot disrespect Knight and Bin and Elkanon. These guys have been here so many times before, but there's a fight breaking out. Elio could be in trouble. The seismic jump does connect onto Levi, but he is tanky enough to survive. Bin arrives with a TP, so does Kiaya. Remember, Kiaya has no ultimate. Emo hitting on the side.
That's not the right spot to ult. What the fuck?
As well on flashes forward. There's the flash from Beishwan, sending Kiaya into the wall.
Aras Adbacho, bro.
Shut down, and now Emo's in
Aras
trouble as
Adbacho.
well. Just like that,
BLG just
to life. Take 3 kills and the Dragon.
The snap engage from BLG was ruthless. They isolate the support. They make sure that they have a numbers advantage. And as Gam is filtering in,
I mean,
they just pick
the ADC is not in there, so look.
You'll see Levi and Elio sitting in the river trying to contest some vision. The Talia
So,
ultimate
oh,
comes
they
through.
ult in
Then
a
they get split
way.
off. Artemis can't really offer anything. The
Yeah,
Corki is still
he just ulted
separated,
for
and the
them.
TP is late from Kiaya. Remember, no Rumble ultimate available.
And she sent
the
him.
knockout onto the Varus means that he can't get involved in the fight, and it just becomes pick after pick after pick. And what was a 2k gold lead
Yeah,
for
that was a
Gam
really good setup. The
disappears
Puppy
in a
sent the
single
Varus
fight.
away as well. Now that's a free Rifter on Vegas.
Small windows, punishing your opponents. It was a great
That's what
angle
made BLG
there
really
from
best at,
Knight.
you know?
Comes
Like, they were
over
behind,
with the
but
Weaver's
then
wall, able to
they saw that he
section them
doesn't,
off,
the top
and
laner doesn't have
without
ult.
Kiaya having
What
the
do you do
ulti,
here?
he couldn't
Drake
really
is
get
up,
much of
he's on
anything
top
done
side.
in that
Before he
fight.
TPs,
So
we exclude the
great
support in
punish
the
there from
jungler and
BLG.
hook
They
them.
now
And
maintain the
easy
gold
win.
lead, as Kiaya will try to defend this tower here, but seems like it may not be long for this world. He's trying to deny the feats of strength. They're both rushing for this first tower, which would get it for either team. Emo down here on the bot side, supported by Elio.
should die
It is
for this,
important
bro.
that they try to push for this.
Yeah.
Do you have the numbers advantage from the bot side of the map? A hook is going to go wide for Elio. Another wave is coming through for Knight. He's very close to securing that tower.
Yeah, I mean, Levi's got to get up here, otherwise they're going to lose the tower, I think, on this wave. Kiaya needs help to defend it, but Knight is pushing forward. Kiaya trying
He just
to keep
needs
it
to
alive.
hit
They
the
are racing
turret.
for it. Bin on the
Why
other
are you
side
not
does pop
hitting the
ulti. Elio
turret?
tanking up the tower as much as he possibly
Let
can.
him
Kiaya
just
about to
pop
overheat, trying to run
Minotaur.
for it. As Beishwan's coming in, there's On arriving as well. Going to pop the ulti to try to tank up the
Ulti
tower.
Lumi
Bin is in
so
trouble. Emo's making it happen.
Why
There's
are
the
we
public
ulting the
execution.
Lucius?
Trying to take down Elio. He does. He's in the 1v2. Can he make it happen? The shield, the double. It's Bin, and he is back.
Beautiful play from Bin, leveraging the tower aggro to punish the 2v1 dive. BLG will also get the top tower. And very
I'm sorry
quickly,
I
the
doubted
momentum
you,
is
Ben.
shifting.
You're better, I guess.
BLG finding plays across the
You're
map,
better.
getting the flash from Kiaya on the top side, and Bin getting 2 kills in the 2 versus 1.
My God, I was watching topside to Leah and Rumbus.
And you can see the tower aggro is going to connect onto Elio. Bin is going to leverage that by utilizing his ultimate to keep him underneath that tower. Once the hook comes through, he keeps him in tower range.
Throw
Nice
the Century.
back step from Bin to create that space between him
Insane
and Emo,
ulti.
to then turn into the kill. The shield then comes through, procs the Eclipse as well, and then secures the double kill.
No, well played, Ben.
So beautifully played.
Talia gets 2 plates.
Bin goes for the backstep, pulling Emo away. So Ilio had to walk further into tower range to get the
Right.
locket on.
Now,
He wasn't
the
in
2K lead
locket
is
range,
over
so
for
he walked up
BLG.
to try to give that locket. That meant he got stuck in that tower for an additional shot, gets taken down. Bin pulls off the 1v2. As his W comes back up, he has the shield, he has the Eclipse shield. He is just making it happen, man, and that is the thing about this guy. You know, say all you want about an inconsistent year, but he is on fire so far, and now Artemis in a lot of trouble. He's going to flash out, but it is not going to get him anywhere. Elio could be next to fall.
Nice flash,
is going to use from Kiaya, but not to much effect whatsoever, and in comes Beishuan in the Herald. They're just going to let it crash into the tower. The tower's incredibly low. On is looking for the dive here. Emo trying to push them back, but they're really struggling to do so. Hook's going to go wide there from Ilio. Now the ulti does
No, that's not a mosquito Jin, bro. Jin is actually fucking them up. What the fuck?
Out of nowhere. BLG do not hesitate to punish a mistake. The moment that you overstep, they capitalize. And look, they're even fishing for more. Knight trying to hover off in the fog.
There's no need to fish for more. Just take the turret.
Surely going to fall. And BLG, with the small advantage that they were able to find in the earlier skirmishes, they are mounting a massive gold lead. 3.3k now.
Already 3k lead, bro.
Mid tower secured, just short of 4k. And as we jump into the replay, an engage comes through from On. He knows he has the ultimate, but the quick collapse coming from Knight means that again,
bro, the ult on this Jin though, it's actually like, I don't know, bro, questionable as fuck.
Kiaya has no angle to get involved. Artemis has already lost his life. And then when they continue the siege, On is just saying, screw it, I'm just going to keep them away from the tower. Let's see if we can secure this objective.
So Jin just don't have cleanse
steps
now.
Up too far, and he gets punished by Knight. Great positioning, great play from BLG as they mount firm control here in game 1.
I mean, it
So
feels
Jin
like
now
it was a
has
minute ago we were talking about this race for first tower.
Collector.
BLG now took
That's not
all
bad. I
of
thought
the
it was gonna
outers
go
there. As you can
Yomus,
see in the
bro.
Coinbase gold grind. This is all of the different sources that Knight has gotten gold from. So you can see 1,100 of his gold is from kills, 4,371 from minions, and so on. As there's been going in again, it's going to be another kill here. As Artemis, great start, but he is getting caught and he is getting punished once again. No flash, no chance.
BLG are just so effective at finding these small positioning mistakes and capitalizing
Smart
so
fucking
quickly.
move. Just immediately like handicap the virus and take
We've seen it
fucking
multiple
Atacam
times.
for free.
And while it might seem like that they're overgrouping, I feel like GAM is just being drawn into the fight. Rather than looking for cross maps or looking for advantages elsewhere on the map, they're just constantly trying to trade with BLG, and BLG are getting the better of them. Now Knight once again throws the ulti out to catch this mid wave and look for a pick.
Yep, you are not allowed to trade. They're saying you cannot take that
Oh,
tower.
I think Levi's dead here. Levi's dead. Levi's dead, yeah.
And I think he's going to get chased
Levi's
down. There's
dead,
the
bro.
flash in from On. Bin and 3 members of BLG will knock down Levi once again.
That's 12 to 7,
he wanted
bro.
to get there, see if he can make a hero play at the Otacon, but he loses his life, and it's just going to be a dragon as well off the back of that. As BLG are just taking everything. They're farming your jungle, they're defending their mid tower, they're taking Otacon, killing your jungler, and then getting the dragon.
It was a
He got rapid fire as well. I think he goes like
really awesome
Eclipse here?
so
Man,
many
no.
members. But BLG,
IE?
they are the classic. You give them a finger and they'll
shit,
take
he
the
goes
whole
IE, right?
arm. The moment that you give them a semblance of an advantage, I know, right?
I gave them my finger.
And they want the arm.
That's messed up.
And not only, they're beating you with the arm right now. They're taking absolutely
really messed
everything.
up.
It's so messed up. But BLG find themselves with a 5k gold lead. Second items being completed across the board. And they're looking good. We wanted to see a statement game from BLG, and it was looking shaky within the first 10 minutes. But here we find ourselves 22 minutes in, and BLG are looking confident.
Yeah, I mean, Knight now well over 2,000 gold ahead of his counterpart here.
Yeah,
He did go for the Magi, lost some stacks of that, so it is a bit unfortunate, but he is, of course, on his 2 items, got the early Rylai's.
Bro, Elk is dodging every virus Q, by the way.
Other side, it's going to be very frustrating for them to be dealing with this. So it is going to be, I think, a tough ask for Kiaya, Levi, and the rest of GAM to try to come back here. you start feeling like it has to come down to picks. Find people inside lanes. Try to find odd number fights where you can find a 2v1 or a 3v1 or something like that to try to even out the fight. But BLG is just pushing this game forward so fast. I mean, you have 4 minutes until Ocean Soul.
Exactly. And I think that is another angle.
Oh, Bin is going to go in, but this time Levi is behind him. Has been a bit off more than he could chew. Levi overheated, trying to get the damage down. And TP's even coming
I think
in.
he lives. Yeah, it's fine. It's fine.
Now an equalizer, well placed. It's going to be flash out there from Bin. It's now Peijuan that is the target. He has a flash of his own, but not even going to need to use it because the reinforcements are arriving. Elk is here, and Knight is positioning for a possible Weaver's wall here.
A bit of greediness from our goats, bro. That's not a good play, though. We're not excluding the good one. Origin is far away, guys.
Gam will retreat, will survive, but just by the skin of their teeth, BLG clearly
so
too
tiny,
much to handle.
A very awkward fight for both sides there. I was expecting BLG to look for a cross map, but there were only really tier 2 towers for them to play for, so instead Knight set his sights actually collapsing, looking to try and convert this into more kills. I think Levi, once he was trapped, played that very well, utilizing the Twisted Advance to get out of harm's way, but ultimately it doesn't result in a huge amount. Summoner spells were burnt on the side of Elio, along with the flash being used by Peijuan and Bin. Those summoner spells could be crucial, but with the next objective still a minute away from the Baron, I think we're really setting our sights on that Dragon Soul for BLG. 2.5 minutes away. I think their priority is going to be pushing in these side waves, getting good vision coverage around that side, and potentially looking for a few more picks.
Maybe the Jin might have it.
And it's going to be up to Gam to just try to get as strong as you possibly can and have a proper setup to try to deny this from BLG.
No way, they're all
when
going to have their ults. They're going to be another fight actually before the break.
We talked about it during the draft. If you are a poke comp and you're playing into Ocean Soul, things are tough. So we'll see if they can find a way to make it happen. But you're looking at the map right now, and there's just not really any wards in the area for Gam. You can see that Elio is trying to get over there and trying to reestablish some vision control. Bin here getting chased down by Kiaya. The rest of the team is coming in. We'll see if they can find him. Remember, he has no flash. The equalizer is there to slow, and in comes Levi. Public execution going to be used, and he is just trying to waste their time as BLG on the other side of the map are looking for a play. They do get the shutdown, but again, it costs them the equalizer. That should be up, though, before the Dragon does spawn here, as BLG looking to pressure some towers.
Good news is that the wave was quite far away, but Emo needs to be very careful. He's going to respect the collapse from Peijuan, and this tower is going to fall. I would say that the risk of using those ultimates is that will they be available for the next Dragon fight? 1 minute and 20 seconds. I imagine that the equalizer will be up, but it's going to be close on the Maokai ultimate for sure. Kiaya will secure his second. I mean, actually, he's still sitting on a decent amount of gold. He'll have to go back to base and spend what he can. The tower is still standing, as BLG have done a great job of keeping all of these outer towers alive. But this Dragon, 1 minute away. This is going to be what I imagine the big deciding fight. If Gam can potentially find a turnaround fight, that's their avenue for a comeback. Or BLG, it could be the final nail in the coffin for securing game 1.
Absolutely agree. When you're 5K up here, if you grab Soul on top of that, it just feels like an insurmountable advantage. So Gam may get just that one more shot here to try to make something happen. Yeah, does go back to base, spends up that gold like you talked about, and does get the Seekers. So it is going to be something very important for this next fight. But it is going to be problematic that you can see the third item is now done for Elk. He has the LDR. You can see both of Banshee's Veil as well as the Blighting Jewel, the components being built up for both of those there for Knight. So he's quite strong here as well. And BLG looking to try to regain control over mid lane.
Find ourselves in a tense situation. Gam recognize that they need to gain some space, but their vision coverage is very limited. And Elk is doing a good job of controlling that mid wave. On
they're very stacked as On's going to go in, and Bin is here to support. On in a lot of trouble.
He's still alive, man. On is still alive.
And the Nautilus falls on the other side. Kiaya running
okay, Bin misses his ult though.
Does barely survive the 4 shot.
I mean, Kiaya dies, bro.
But he has got nowhere to go, and Peijuan finds another stun there.
Yeah, they're all dead. That's GG's. Go next, guys.
From Gam, and it feels like just like that, the fight is already done. BLG crush it. They take 3. They're going to take the Soul to boot.
It feels like that it's too much of a wallet difference at this point. It was a straight up front to back. That Maokai just melted. The fact that On was also able to get out of that situation, and then the rest of BLG chased down
It's
Gam.
over, guys.
A very awkward situation for Gam to find themselves in. They did not get the optimal setup, and they end up falling short.
27 minutes.
Be able to fight their way in. They're trying to get through these chokes, trying to stay together so they don't get picked off. But the problem is, You're just setting up these great angles for BLG to attack.
So let's look at our MasterCard price this moment as it's Levi that gets engaged on initially, and that's who BLG focused. They don't
I mean, only lived for eternity, bro. What the fuck?
They then look for the chase by removing the Corki. The collapse becomes even easier with a really nice Talia wall.
Yeah, fucking flashing there. And using Zonia. My days, he just disappeared.
But he's just dead, and Beishuan wants even more. Nice positioning has been a thing of beauty. Every ult
another flash out, bro.
Seems to be perfectly placed. And now Kiaya in a world of hurt down here.
Yeah,
MSI
so much ahead, bro.
He does not care about your poke any longer.
I mean, it really has been
a beautiful
clips.
Game now DD is about to be finished as well. It's over. It's over.
Every single play, his use of the Talia wall has just been flawless.
Yeah, Knight's playing really good.
To see, can they find a way in to try to steal away this Baron? Teleport coming out there from Kiaya, but here comes Knight one more time.
It's over because they don't have ult, bro. Yeah.
Out to the wolves, and he's gonna get bit in
bro, Ben is just collecting everyone, running around and killing them.
He's 3 levels up.
Bro.
As well as they're just trying to look to try to end the game right
now. It's over, bro.
They get a third, and they are on the march now. The wave is gonna be coming in. They're not heading to the Baron, so they just want to.
I don't think Gam stands a chance. This is a 3-0, bro. This is gonna be a stomp.
On the team fights. There is little room for Gam to react.
This is gonna be a 3-0 stomp. It's gonna be a quick game, guys.
BLG setting their sights on the Nexus.
It's Levi and Elio versus the entire team, but with the Ocean Soul, they don't have the damage to stop them. We'll see if they can clear out the wave, find a miracle play, but I don't think it's gonna happen. Elio
28 minutes, bro.
Goes dominating. It's 20-8. It's a 10,000 gold lead.
Hey, these bots, bro. I'm tired of them.
The game, and BLG just padding the stats, trying to get more kills here on the doors to the fountain as Artemis is going to respawn just to die one last time. It's an ace again for BLG as Emo's now respawning. They want another kill. Mercy, cries Gam as BLG takes game number 1. A convincing performance from BLG. The early game looked a little shaky. I loved the confidence from the Gam bot lane. The solo kill from Kiaya. Things were looking good. But it only took a single fight from BLG to close the gold gap and swing the momentum massively in their favor. That's scary stuff, man. We have seen these kind of series so many times in the past where some of these underdog teams come out, they show their prowess, their individual skill in the lanes, but then when it becomes time to moving around the map, to setting up objectives, to moving as a unit, BLG definitely looked like they were on another level in this first game.
Yeah, they certainly did, and BLG kind of meeting the expectations put upon them. Coming in as heavy favorites, dominating game 1. We'll see if Gam can bounce back.
We will see. BLG claim the first win of the series. Dracos, what you got back at the desk?
I'm going to be honest, mixed feelings, because for the first 5 minutes of that game, I was like, there's no way both series are
It's
like
happening
this.
again.
It's happening again. But BLG very quickly reminded us that not all teams are created equal, and not all teams fight as well as other teams. Those guys were monsters.
I was sweating, honestly, right? Because, like, Artemis was kind of the major upgrade. I thought this roster made that Gam has been fielding. Their bot lane had a really great start to the game, right? But then we had the fateful dragon fight where everything changed for BLG, and I think the big thing for me going into this was that the Rumble ult was down, right? Like, it had actually been used on Bin in the bot lane. So when this starts up, it's a really good example of why BLG wanted this Poppy Talia combo so badly.
Yeah, and also just on top of the fact that Talia was able to make it there first, I think Gam just needs to be able to anticipate the play that he's going to be there first at all times. Like, he gets 2 crazy flicks. That was a great flick to be able to get Emo as well. So I thought it was a really good play overall from BLG. You mentioned it. That was really kind of broke open. But also they just kept pounding the mid lane. It kept happening again and again. Like the Talia ulti, whenever it was up, guess who was getting sacrificed? It was Artemis.
Yeah, well, the thing for me is just Knight is a demon. And sometimes you forget, right? Because oftentimes we hold Knight to such a high standard that if he's not in contention for best mid laner in the world, people are like, that's not enough for him. But you forget just how incredible this player can be in the clutch. And that was the first of many team fights. That single moment, it never felt like Gam had another chance to get back into the game. Even as we look at the game-winning fights, even as we look at the mid-game, their consistency here was incredible. Now, the lane phase is still shaky. There's still things you can throw criticism at, but across the board, the coordination here in these fights was excellent.
Yeah, as we see this game-winning fight come through, right? Like, they immediately get on to Artemis. At this point, they're so far ahead that it's going to be really difficult for Bin to not just be able to go in and get on these carries, but you really see how they wanted to play this composition now, especially when ahead.
Yeah, because the fact that if you look at this composition and you're Artemis and you have such a great lead, it's like maybe I've circumvented the entire problem. Like there's no threats from the Talia and even like Bin getting solo killed early, like maybe I'm fine. No, all of that was thrown to the wayside. You're right, the lead happened, and so when he gets crushed like that and there's really nothing to stop that from happening, and this is just one of many plays that showed that he's getting like destroyed by the Talia or the ulti coming in from the top lane. It's just it's rough to look back at.
And I do definitely want to highlight the massive gold shift that did happen, right? Because it's important to remember that GAM were actually up, I believe, 2.4k gold, right? So it's just this entire section of the game, and in particular, look at what happens with these two top laners, right? This is where Bin really, really pulls ahead, even though it actually starts with him getting killed in the bot lane.
And unfortunately, I don't think we're showing the correct gold graph currently. We got a little preview of what's to come,
it just wasn't showing.
Perhaps for AL and T1. But the big thing to highlight is this was not a game that started off super incredibly for BLG, but they found that single angle. It just continued to snowball. And I think the moment where we kind of came back to earth, other than the dragon moment, was when we were reminded not to test the Gigabin in our HyperX replay, because this is a guy who, is gold even a concept that he cares about? I think not. He's just outplaying like a madman.
Yeah, this 2v2 was pretty incredible because at first it looked like he was just dead. The shield does eat it. He plays back. Like when he walks up first for the wave, then Elio's like, okay, this should be a good dive for us. I'm going to take turret aggro. Now, Bin ultis, not just to take this shot, but the next turret shot that comes through, so he couldn't even flash, so he dies right then and there.
Yeah, and going into this, Elio had actually been the huge playmaker for them, right? So being able to keep it within turret range was massive. Bin turns it around 2 for 0.
The W shield and the Eclipse shield. You're like, okay, my support's down. Maybe I can still kill him. Couldn't get the job done.
There's nothing that feels worse than seeing an enemy Ambessa come back to lane with Eclipse. You're like, ah, yes, I no longer get to deal damage. That appears to be the case. Here now we have the correct PGB powered by AWS. And still pretty impressive stuff across the board from BLG. When we look ahead to Game 2, how worried are you about that early game that we saw? Is this something that you think GAM can exploit and potentially bring home a game? What are you focusing on when it comes to that Game 2? What are you guys keeping track of?
I'm a little more saddened because like I feel like that's the sucker punch you go for. Like you think you're coming in as the heavy favorites, and then once again BLG we're at the sleep at the wheel last MSI as well, and then they cleaned it up later on. I feel like they're going to be a lot more safer, and I'm going to be looking at GAM a little bit, and I'm just going to have one request. Be more careful on the mid-wave, please. I'm begging. GAM, just be a lot more careful on the mid-wave. So that's going to be my message for them for this one.
Hopefully there's less Talia in this game. Thank you, Fearless. But the mid-wave it's a scary place, dark and full of terrors, most certainly. Emily, what are you focused on?
For BLG, I mean, we kind of talked about how shaky at times this bot lane in Elk in particular has had a very up and down split. So I really want them to start off a little bit better, let's just say.
How much of that is individual performance versus like draft? I know we did throw some criticism. We were a little bit skeptical about the Jhin Alistair lane into the Varus Nautilus.
I was very skeptical about it.
It seems like rightfully
I feel
so.
like that skepticism was paid off. But I think the big thing they did want in this draft is the Talia Poppy. I think tunneling on certain things in draft has been a BLG special a little bit. So the big important thing going in for GAM is that they are on blue side, so I'm curious to see what they end up on, because I actually thought their drafting in this first game was very solid.
Yep. Adaptations in draft, it sounds like, for the side of BLG, and maybe being a little bit more careful around the mid-wave for the side of GAM. There's a lot of dangerous players who can show up there. You gotta be careful about the risks you take. For now, though, we're gonna head to a quick break. When we return, Game 2 coming up. We'll see if GAM can bounce back.
We'll see synapse until then.
Let me throw it to the ground, make them turn around. This is what I do. I'm a dog, not afraid to fight in the dark and light.
Shut up. Ad blocker in your
Oh no. Oh, you're dead, bro. You're all dead, bro. That's a pentakill for me. Oh!
So sweating, bro.
Oh là là, magnifique R. Je sais pas que j'ai un souvenir là. Oh Bomba.
Oh! 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 Wait, what?
What? What?
Oh, I got suspended.
I'm alive! Leopard, kill yourself! In game!
They don't have a jungler. I steal this. Oh my god. I actually steal this. No. Stop pulling it, please. I steal it. I stole it.
Triple kill.
Too far.
They're putting pink wards left and right, dude. I'm gonna try to do this, because I imagine... Nice, not bad.
Ah. Good? Yes.
The Rise are worked in our favor, at least.
Oh my god, he griefed himself. What are you doing?
Send! So close, bro. Holy!
Ja. 3. Ja. Halt hier, kaum was soll's. Let's try. Hallo. Rocket Belt, Dodge. Noch ein Sauger. Wow. Memo! Zack, kapum!
We fight here. Here we go. I don't miss. Oh! Hold up.
Your turret has been destroyed. Your turret has been destroyed.
Oh!
Oh, thanks. Bye.
Like, for example, that fight I did have to ult out. You know what I mean? It's like, there's no way for me to trade on the smolder. Are you serious? Cool.
Big W incoming.
The world won't save itself, you know. You were good. Death is beneath. Have a good rest.
Roaming ist balanced out.
Das Gaming-Event war und hat gefragt, ob ich dann nicht mit dir hingehen will. Und das Event an sich war halt übelst scheiße, dass man nur so. Ne! Lecco mio! Oh, wo sind die Gegner denn hin? GG!
Nice shot.
I think that is the monitor, bro.